So I've actually always wanted to ask you this question because I don't think this has ever been talked about, but how involved were you in the making of OTK? And also, how did you get the role that you now have in OTK, which is like the mega boss?
Okay, shit. Well,
if you can talk about that.
So going back to the beginning, actually maybe a step before the beginning, I'll give you the prologue of everything.
Yeah.
So originally, I met S-Fan about a month or two before I started making content, I think, back in 2017. He had just been banned from streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was streaming a private server for Classic WoW, and Blizzard would go through, you know how like every couple of years they pretend like they give a shit about this?
Yeah, of course.
Right, well this was that 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Before everybody got laid off, and there's nobody do that job anymore, basically.
Yeah, no, nobody cares.
But yeah, so he got banned, and at the time I was actually one of his viewers. I was watching his stream, I thought he was really funny, and I had been thinking about doing content creation. So I hit him up and I was like, hey, we should do a podcast together. Like, let's talk about Classic WoW. You know, it just got announced. We're all really excited. And he ended up saying yes, and we paired up with one of our other friends, Stay Safe. I guess Stay Safe and S-Fan had been wanting to do a podcast for a while.
Yep.
And so I kind of, tagged along. And as I got to know S-Fan got to know Asman right around the same time for right around the same reason, I'm pretty sure. We had a lot of free time in 2017, basically, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I met S-Fan, subsequently met Asman.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like the prologue of how us three met. And obviously Asman had relationships with the other OTK members prior to it.
Yeah.
And in June of 2020...
So we skip forward 3 years.
Skip forward 3 years. Tangentially, we hang out.
Well, we can talk, I can talk a little bit about like what happened between then, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we did you were doing the CDL, the Classic Dueling League.
Okay.
And so what happened is like then we, like me and S-Fan, like we set up a dueling tournament, right? And we did this like Classic WoW dueling tournament. And so this goes, like actually extremely well, but it was like so fucking stressful setting everything up. And I was like, Tips did this whole thing by himself. How the fuck do you do that? And because, we had just done it one time and you'd been doing it as an entire league. It was insane. And so I was very impressed by this. And both of you, like Tips and S-Fan, were both in Method. And then Method had a situation.
You were that good to be in Method?
That's not the way that Method works.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, no, we were amazing.
Okay.
We were rating everything. World first. No. They had like a content creator program, and so we were part of that at the time.
Okay. Damn, bro.
Can you imagine?
Okay, yeah.
But basically we had met. I had been doing these leagues. They tried to do a tournament. They saw how difficult it was, I presume. And so eventually in June 2020, some situations happened with Method. And so myself, S-Fan, and I think Nick at the time as well was also signed to Method.
Well, Nick was basically a founding member because whenever we announced OTK, we didn't announce Nick, but we had the picture of Nick's shoes in the picture of us signing all the documents.
Yes.
And so Nick basically was a founding member, although like we didn't announce it with Nick being part of the org.
Exactly. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought Nick was announced day one.
He was announced like day 14.
Something like that.
Okay, yeah, because I'm not sure if this is how everybody felt, but a lot of people who I saw felt this way. Was like, Asman makes sense, S-Fan makes sense, but what was the decision with Miz? How'd that happen?
So I think that
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah.
So we thought that Miz, like the reason why I liked Miz is because Miz wasn't like me. Miz didn't have the same perspective on things that I did, and he did things that I didn't do. Like a lot of the things that, let's say, like S-Fan and Nick did, I also did, but Miz did something that was totally different than me. And for me, like, I think that having different perspectives and like different strengths, that's what it's all about. And so like Miz took it from being kind of like just a WoW org, and he made it something a lot bigger just by being involved. Yeah. And so that's the big reason. And also like his stream is doing well. We knew Miz, like we were friends with him. We've been over to his house, etc. So like there was all that too.
So it literally was inviting him because he didn't fit in so much.
Exactly.
Essentially.
You know, like the Yogg Saron card in Hearthstone?
Absolutely, where you play it and then for every spell that's cast, a random spell happens.
Exactly.
Yep.
We needed one of those. You know, you needed that wild card. But I think in the very beginning, you know, before we had fully fledged out our business model, there was a bit of like, hey, what do we want to be and kind of what's the direction the organization is going to take? And like Asmund said, Miz unlocked a completely different potential of like what we could be from like the lifestyle brand perspective with this just chatting content and, you know, IRL stuff. So I was like, you know what, let's have more options and Miz can kind of like help lead the way there. And yeah, that's how it gets started. So the very first message I found on my computer when it came to like OTK was at the very end of June in 2020, you and I had an exchange on Twitter, very brief one, where it was just like something along the lines of, hey, you know, if you want to do anything, you know, after all this, you know, we should talk.
Oh, for method, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think you had been having some separate conversations with some of the other guys and it just kind of all fell into place, really.
Well, I had been approached by another org that had offered me an equity opportunity in the org. And they told me that the org was worth like, I'm not going to say how much, but it was a very large number of millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
And I was like, that sounds like a really good idea. Let's just do that. Why join this one? I'll just start my own. Fuck this. And so then after that, I started thinking about it. Then the method stuff happened. And then, you know, everything kind of just fell into place. And like, yeah, this was like right about the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.